on all Group 1 races this spring. So make sure you jump on betstar.com.au. A break and plenty more to come.
This is Bet Stars and Stripes with Dr. Turf, Ed Wyatt and Alice Gander.
Welcome back to Betstars and Stripes on 11:16 SEN on this Sunday night. Of course, brought to you by Betstar. It's so easy to bet on the go with Betstar. All you have to do is head to betstar.mobi and take us on anywhere, anytime. Fast and friendly service online or over the phone. Join Betstar for great odds and awesome products. What we are about to do is run a competition for a wonderful prize, which is an NFL Game Pass. A magnificent value in that for American football fans, but even for those who are keen to just get into the game and educate themselves on it over the course of the season. We are only about to enter the third week, so there's so much time left in the season. It's going to be a Who Am I competition, and we're going to run it head-to-head, which means we need two callers on the line. So it's going to be two callers battling it out, the first two up, and we're opening the lines up right now for that, which will be running in a few minutes. 94291116.
Yep. The first one is a gimme. This one is an easy one. So if you want to get involved, this is the one to put your hand up in.
That's right. So the first two callers on the line right now. A nice, easy one to start with. 94291116. The first two callers through can run head-to-head for a shot at an NFL Game Pass for this particular season. Now, we are going to run into our next competition, which is Understanding the Game, or the Education. And interesting play last week that you wanted to touch on, Ed.
That's correct. A lot of people ask me about this. It's a very strange element of American football, which is as the clock winds down, if the defense doesn't have any timeouts and can't stop the clock, then the offense can just kneel down and stop the game. You essentially let the clock run out. It's not exactly the most enthralling ending to a game, but and so basically it's one of these unwritten rules in sport that you get. So it's not actually in the rule book, but these guys take a knee and everyone shakes hands and walks off. The Giants were leading Tampa Bay, and the Giants in a really good game, very hard-fought football game. So the Giants took a knee, Eli Manning took a knee, and then Tampa Bay, instead of just kind of going, yeah, and accepting it, shaking it, actually the lineman fired out and sort of went into the Giants, like maybe to try and force a fumble in case something happened like that. And the Giants were upset about it. Tom Coughlin was furious with Greg Schiano, who's the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Coughlin said it's something that's not done, but Schiano was unrepentant, and he explains. We got some audio, thanks to NFL.com, of him explaining his thoughts.
One of the arguments that's been made this week is that it is an unwritten rule that you don't do that in the NFL.
I think most of the time when people get angry, there's usually either miscommunication or missed expectations. And I don't think they understood what our expectations were, why we did it. I think they misinterpreted it. They thought it was something violent, but a lot of people thought that. And I don't have to answer to people. I know if I do something that's right, and I can go to bed at night knowing that I didn't do anything that isn't right, then I have no problem. And I believe what we did was right.
Next week, next year, are you doing it again?
It's like any other play we have in the playbook. If I think the time is right, I'll call it.
What did you think of that, Ed? Thanks to NFL.com.
Yeah, I tell you, the only thing I would say is if you go to YouTube and Google Miracle at the Meadowlands from 1978 when the Giants were trying to kill the clock and Joe Pisarcik couldn't make a handoff and fumbles it with like no time on the clock. Herman Edwards scoops it up and runs it in for a touchdown. So there is always a chance that even if you're just going to fall and take a knee, that you slip and drop the ball. I mean, we're taught to play to the final whistle, right? Yeah. And this really isn't playing to the final whistle. It's sort of a gentleman's agreement, and I don't want anyone to get hurt, and I do understand that. But the only thing I'll say is the Giants claim that Tampa said the game's over. Yeah. So they claim that they didn't think Tampa was going to do that.
Don't you think that there's still room for those kind of traditions in sport? Like we don't have to speak specifically about NFL, but I mean in golf there's gimmies. I mean there is a chance that I am going to miss a 6-inch putt.
Correct.
But in golf and in big tournaments they give each other gimmies. They like doing that kind of stuff. In soccer when someone gets injured, they kick the ball out over the sideline deliberately. I actually sort of like that. I find that sportsmanship. I find that an aspect of sport that I'd be disappointed if we became too ruthless and too meticulous.
Is it like not passing in the late in the Tour de France, and they got that celebration stuff.
Kind of like, I mean, I think that's another one. Which, and I mean, I guess the other thing, the way to look at it is that fans, maybe they need to just put something in it that just says the game's over. Instead of even running a play, because why even go through the pretense? Why just say, why don't we just end it now? I mean,
like a game of cricket when sometimes both captains are like, oh, we can't.
Yeah,
you
just
can't
end it now. That's exactly right. Then you avoid this, and look, to be honest, it kind of cheats the fans out of a play, as Jerry Jones, the Cowboys owner, said. You had a minute left, and theoretically, you could run 3 plays sometimes and just kneel down 3 times and the game's over. So, but anyway, interesting aspect. Look for that, and look to see if this becomes an issue as you watch NFL during the year.
Now, we have our 2 contestants on the line. Before we introduce them, Al, just an explanation as to the fantastic prize, but also the way this competition works.
Yes, absolutely. So the competition works is we will give a series of clues, one at a time. First person in with their buzzer, and their buzzer will be their own name. So first person in with the buzzer gets an opportunity to answer the question. Whoever answers the question correctly first is going to win a NFL Game Pass for the remainder of the season. We'll have this competition every single week on Betstars and Stripes.
That's great.
And we will give this prize away every single week, so it should be great.
Now, Zach in St Kilda is one of our contestants. You've dropped off the line. Zach, give us a call back, and we'll stick you back into the draw. We will just knock over a couple of SMSs while we're waiting for Zach's return. Will the NHL season be starting on time, or will there be a lockout, Daniel, in Footscray?
Well, there is a lockout.
Yes,
that's already happened. So the season, all preseason games have been canceled. So not sure yet about the regular season, but my bet is it's going to be delayed.
Now, Zach, if you... We'll give you a short amount of time to get back on the line, but anyone else, if you want to ring now whilst we're waiting for Zach, you can take his place.
Zach may have lost his chance. Chance it is.
Stephen is there from Oak Park, who is the first of our contestants whilst we wait for the second. Steve, good evening.
Good evening, guys. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. You've been following the game for long? You got a side already, or?
Yeah, bit of a leaning towards the Redskins.
Good year to follow the Redskins.
Sorry, I missed that.
I said, good year to follow the Redskins. Robert Griffin Jr., a very exciting young team rebuilding. I think you may have made a good choice there.
I was a bit disappointed last week. Got ahead early and sort of let it slip, but I suppose a young team, they'll learn as they go along.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That was a disappointment, but real nice effort by St. Louis in that game. But you're right. It's going to be a learning year for the Redskins. I think you're going to have to deal with that when you got a rookie quarterback.
I know it's only 2 games, Ed, but can you think of a rookie quarterback that started more impressively 2 games into their career?
It's a great question. I mean, he started really well. That first game was sensational. Cam Newton was really good last year. I think Andrew Luck, he wasn't necessarily great in the first game, but he's going to prove to be okay. I'd have to go back into the annals of NFL history, but certainly in terms of excitement, I'm not sure there's been anyone like Robert Griffin Jr., just in terms of how exciting he's been starting the season.
We're getting our second caller just up on the line at the moment. So whilst they're teeing up, how much of the NHL lockout due to the salary of players being so high in percentage terms of media rights? Is it too hard for owners to make some coin? It's Tom from Aspendale.
Well, that's a very complex question. Essentially, in the last collective bargaining agreement, they gave the players 57% of the revenue. And the problem is the league got incredibly popular, so there's a lot more money and then a lot more expenses. And I think the owners sort of have not panicked, but looked at it and said, we can't sustain it at this 57% level. The trouble is they've then dialed it back and said, we want 57%. We want the players to go back to 40-something. So no one likes to have that kind of money taken out of their pocket. So that's part of the problem.
Now, Justin in Mulgrave is our second contestant. Justin, good evening.
G'day, boys. How are you?
Not too bad. Now, your buzzer, Justin, will be your name, and Stephen in Oak Parker, we've got your buzzer will be your name as well. So Al will provide a series of clues, and just buzz in with your name if you want to have a crack at the answer.
So let's test the buzzers. How shall we? Stephen, can you test your buzzer?
Stephen.
Beautiful. Justin, can you test yours?
Justin.
Beautiful. First one in has a free crack at this. So I was born in Virginia in 1980. I played college football in my home state. I am a 4-time Pro Bowl player. Nothing yet, boys? Have you got it yet, Ed?
I'm thinking.
I was drafted first overall in the 2001 NFL draft.
Ooh.
I ranked first amongst all quarterbacks ever in career rushing yards.
Justin.
Justin, go for it.
Michael Vick.
Spot on, Justin.
Hey.
Well done.
Good
So,
job.
Justin, if you stay on the line, we will grab your details, and with your details, we'll arrange to get you an NFL Game Pass for the remainder of the season. Well done, buddy.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys.
Nice work. You'll be watching a lot of NFL.
How many clues did you need, Ed? When did you pick up on that?
Probably. I mean, I was thinking. The Virginia got me thinking.
You don't have to be humble if you would have got that very early days.
No. Look, I probably would have, but no, it's a good one. Of course, Michael Vick, Virginia Tech, and comes out of an area there in Virginia that's produced an unbelievable number of professional athletes at Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads area. Just incredible number of pro players come out of there.
Justin from Broadford's rung up, wants to ask a question re rookie quarterbacks. Justin, good evening.
Good evening, guys. How are you?
Very
Hey,
well.
Justin, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, very good.
That's good. Ed, I asked you earlier today on Twitter about your impressions on
Yes.
the quarterback rookies this year.
Yes.
Do you think, given the right circumstances, if with some trades or something, if a rookie quarterback went to a team that was contending, would you be shocked to see one of them maybe taken to a Super Bowl and maybe even win one? They seem to be getting better and better every year.
You're absolutely right. They are getting better and better every year, and hard to say what that's about. I think one of the things I do think, Justin, and my thought initially was that college football has become so almost professional in its own right, but also I think pro teams are understanding how to use rookies. I think in the past it was just like throw them in there, and if they get hit and knocked down, that's good for them. That's how they learn. I think now they're starting to realize they've got to put some pieces around them. You've got to treat them delicately. You can't necessarily make them the face of the franchise and the savior. You got to kind of downplay the expectations a little bit. If you would get someone, I tell you what, if Andrew Luck went to a contending team at the moment, I think they'd be in great shape. I mean, I think he's mature. I think he's talented. He's smart. Teammates love him. I think and this is not to take anything away from Robert Griffin III. I just think Luck is the kind of guy that you could almost plug into a New England Patriots, and with the right preparation would be absolutely fine.
Thank you for your call, Justin. Very good question. We do have to take a break. We'll be taking a look forward to this weekend's matches. A little bit of fantasy discussion, a segment called Studs and Duds. All the latest odds as well. This year is Betstars and Stripes. Thanks to Betstar. Take Betstar on at betstar.com.au. Iskander's Betstar, proudly Australian-owned. A break and plenty more.
This is Betstars and Stripes with Dr. Turf, Ed Wyatt and Alice Gander.
Betstars and Stripes, thanks to Betstar. Take on Betstar at betstar.com.au. Alice Gander here with Ed Wyatt. Dr. Turf to be back next week. Just having the feet up a little bit today. I'm sure he's out. I think he's out at an awards dinner somewhere. But we'll take a look forward to this weekend's matches. Of course, we did have the Thursday game, but we've got a series of matches tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we do. So the first one we'll look at will be live on 1HD, 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, and it's Kansas taking on New Orleans. We touched on that really, really quickly previously in that the loser of this game goes 0-3, and far from the ideal start to a season. We've got Kansas at $4.20, New Orleans playing at home $1.24. The line there is a flat 9 points, and the overs and unders are 53 points.
We'll call this the IQ special, maybe, because the 3 a.m. call is an early one. That's for especially if you're up late watching Liverpool, Man U, and Arsenal, and Manchester City. That might be roll that one into 3 a.m. But look, I defended New Orleans last week, and I said there's no way they were going to start 0-2. Well, they'd have started 0-2. I'll just stick to my guns again, Alan, this week and say there's no way that they're going to start 0-3. Do they cover a line of 9? I'm not convinced about that. I think this could have the hallmarks of a pretty close game, but they'll be home. They'll be in the Superdome where they rarely lose. I can't see him dropping this game, Alan. I really can't, and I wouldn't. I'd be very careful even on the 9. I think the cover is questionable. I know 420 to New Orleans. I don't see that happening. I'd be tempted more to just play that one straight, or even go with New Orleans 202 -9. I think is probably your better bet on that one.
Well, the Chiefs haven't beat the Saints since 1997, and haven't won at the Superdome since 1994.
Is that right?
So that's
wow.
That's a pretty interesting stat.
That's
there.
a great stat.
And that's why New Orleans are $1.24.
I think that's